What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined in person once again by my co-host, Eric Wilson. We're here to do episode 100, special edition of Fireside Rangers. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in all this time to the channel. Your support is meaningful to us. It means a lot. And make sure, as we dive into this episode, to leave a like if you enjoyed this episode. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, because we have plenty of great New York Rangers content coming out. Hopefully, I won't be punching Eric in the eyeball in every single intro to the videos. But going forward, we're going to be talking a lot more about the Rangers and the playoff potential that this team has. Right now, we want to look at the standings and dive into whether or not the Rangers can still win the Metropolitan division. Might be possible, but it's not going to be easy. We're going to go ahead and dive into it, see what that looks like and what the playoff picture looks like for this upcoming postseason. Before we dive into all of that, Eric, how are you doing today, my friend? And how's your eyeball?
I was having a great day. And I'm still having a good day, but I can just only see out of one eye currently. But
Yeah.
you know, as you mentioned, it's episode 100. We made it. Thank you to everyone who somehow puts up with us like every couple of days when we decide to post. But Go Team Phase 2 has started. We've rebranded.
Yes, make sure you take notice of our new logos and everything. Let us know if you enjoy these logos. We're going to start throwing them on hats and everything soon. T-shirts, it's going to be sick, real sick, nasty. Stay tuned to our Twitter and to the channel. We'll let you know when all of that goes live. But again, thanks for the love and support. Episode 100, Phase 2. It's here. It's like a Marvel phase. We're going to go crazy. So let's dive into the question. Eric, can the New York Rangers still win the Metropolitan division? Break it down, whether or not it's possible and why it might be.
The simple answer is yes, we can. And it's not going to be an easy task looking at the division that we play in, but mathematically wise, I think it's very possible, especially with the way that the Rangers have been playing recently. You know, we are on a 6-game win streak after the last win, which was a little sloppy, but, you know, we still picked up the win. And we play again tonight against Edmonton, which is going to be another tough task right in front of us. Hopefully Connor McDavid won't score another once in a lifetime goal against us. That just makes it all over social media for the next 6 months, but it'll be tough. But I think we can extend the win streak to 7 if we really play our hearts out. But you look at the standings right now, right? Within the Metropolitan division, it is being led by Carolina, who obviously has had an incredible season. They are 36-10-8, and as far as I'm aware, they are currently second overall in the league. I just double check that is right. And you know, Carolina is insane. You know, they have amazing offensive depth, defensive depth. The only thing they kind of lack is an all-star goaltender, but their goaltender is still maybe top 10 in the league right now. And then they're followed by the young and upcoming team of New Jersey, who is also at 54 games played, and they are 35-14-5 at 75 points. And then just right behind them are the Rangers, who also 54 games played, 32-14-8 with 72 points. So we're only really 3 points behind New Jersey and 8 points behind Carolina, which if you're watching the channel, I'm sure you know, but if a win is worth 2 points and overtime or shootout loss is worth 1 point. So as long as we keep winning, we're realistically only, 4 games outside of tying for first place. We kind of just need Carolina to start losing and the Rangers to just keep on winning. But mathematically, it is possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. But when we look at these standings, Carolina, 80 points in first place, New Jersey, 75 in second, and us, 72 points for third place. There's a pretty big drop-off after that. You got Pittsburgh with only 63 points in fourth, and Washington, 62 in fifth, and the Islanders, 61 in sixth. So when you look at that, Eric, it seems like the Rangers are pretty much firmly falling in the top 3. It's comfortable. You can be comfortable enough to say that the Rangers, the way that they're playing, they can finish the season out in the top 3 seeds for the Metropolitan division. But where do you think that they could land? Because do you really think that first seed is realistic? Or do you think that they stay in third or maybe move up to second? I think they can probably catch up with Jersey and get there in the second spot. But getting up to first might be a little bit tough of a stretch. But what are your thoughts on that? Where do you think they land?
I think it's possible that at some point we can overtake Carolina. But if we're talking extremely realistically, like you mentioned, second or third is probably where the Rangers are going to finish up. You know, obviously fourth place Pittsburgh, and then Washington, and then the Islanders, who are just right outside of the last wild card spot. Chances of them catching up not too likely. I will knock on wood with that though, because at this point of the season, this is where teams are really just make or break. Who knows? Maybe Pittsburgh can go on like a 15-game win streak and then just catch up with us if we go through a slump or something like that. But realistically, I think the possibility of catching up with New Jersey is extremely possible. As I mentioned, they are a younger team. I think they're like average, like the youngest team in the league, kind of like how we were a year or two ago. But as we saw with the Rangers, that the problem with that came was a lack of playoff experience, and like they don't have the physical capabilities of making like a strong, deep playoff push at their age. Having a bunch of 21, 22-year-olds who are raw talent right there can only take you so far. You kind of need that depth and experience as well, which the Rangers do have currently. So the possibility of catching up and overtaking New Jersey for second place, I think that's probably what might happen, or we'll just finish off in third. It's like a little bit of a dream to catch up with Carolina, but with the way they've been playing, the way that they keep on winning, as much as we keep winning, we can't catch up unless they start losing as well. So that's the only problem with that. But, with the way that the NHL playoff format is, the second and third place team in each division will play each other in the playoffs. So as each game passes by, a Jersey Rangers playoff first round matchup just seems more and more likely every single day. It's kind of just really coming down to who's going to take the second seed and get the home ice advantage.
Yeah, that one would definitely be a exciting matchup. I would say. I think that would be a lot of fun to see Jersey versus New York. That just sounds right there. There's your headline. That's going to be fun.
The Hudson rivalry.
Yeah, but if you look into the Metropolitan division, the Rangers are on the greatest win streak out of anybody. Carolina's on a 2-game win streak, but the Rangers 6-game win streak. It's the best in the division. They're playing the best hockey out of anybody, and I do think that if they continue to play at this level, the Tarasenko trade has a lot to do with this. If they can continue to win these games, I do think they have a shot at maybe competing for that first seed, but it's not going to be easy. Again, like we said, they've got to catch up with Jersey first and then try to overtake Carolina. And Carolina, great team, going to be tough to beat them in the standings. But right now, Eric, what do you think is the biggest barrier to reaching that first seed for the New York Rangers? We say it's possible, but it's not likely. But why isn't it likely? Is it just purely because of how good Carolina is, or what is with the Rangers? What's holding the Rangers back from winning those games and catching up?
I don't think it's necessarily anything that's holding the Rangers back. It's just looking ahead at what's to come. The Rangers, just like a couple of weeks ago, were ranked having like the hardest schedule to finish off the rest of the regular season. So it's like, yeah, Carolina's going to keep winning. They'll lose every once in a while, giving the Rangers an opportunity to pick up a win and inch closer towards that first place spot. But like tonight we're playing against Edmonton. I know we have a couple games against the Devils coming up as well. There's like a lot of good teams that we have to really get through in order to do this. It's like obviously we just had 2 games against Vancouver. We won both. Obviously not the greatest team, but then you just look forward in the schedule and it's not going to be an easy task. I have faith in the team and I know that we're going to pick up like a decent amount of wins with the skill set that we have right now. But then just looking at like the next couple of games coming up right here, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, and Detroit aren't that good. And then we go to LA on the 26th at the end of the month. It's like we have a tough time ahead of us. And it's just pick up as many wins as you can, but it's not like we're going up against bottom of the barrel teams every single day. So it's really just have faith in your team and hope that you just get as many wins as possible and stay where you're at.
I think the most important stretch of this season, though, if you look at the end of March, the 21st and the 23rd, they'll be playing Carolina on those 2 days. And then the following week on the 30th, they'll be playing the Devils. Now, that's pretty much your race for the first and second seed right there.
And then also just to add on to that, the week beforehand, we play Pittsburgh, then Washington, then Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh. And at that point of the season where you're in like the last full month of hockey, those teams that are in wild card spots are going to be pushing for a divisional spot right there. So they're going to be playing like the hardest they've ever played so far that season. It's like in the span of 2 weeks, you have 6 divisional matchups right there. That will be like a very like important deciding 2 weeks of New York Rangers hockey right there.
Yeah, that stretch of the schedule is kind of brutal. It's going to be tough, but if the Rangers pull out a bunch of wins there, they might be able to push for that first seed, depending. If they're somehow able to sweep Carolina and get wins out of both of those, then we can totally be talking about the Rangers pushing for that first seed, though it depends how they play in the games leading up, like those 3 against Pittsburgh. But when you look at the schedule, it's not favorable for the Rangers in the sense that it's easy, but it's favorable for the Rangers in the sense that when they're going to need those clutch wins to overtake Carolina and New Jersey, they have the opportunities to, and that's favorable. Like having those games back to back against Carolina and then a game against New Jersey right before the end of the season. That's why I think that the Rangers actually do have an outside chance of getting to that first seed. But again, it's not going to be easy. It's a tough schedule, some really tough matchups, especially for the rest of this month as they close it out. But I don't know, Eric, what do you think about that final stretch there over in March?
I mean, it's tough. It's going to decide a lot right there. And then it's like a questionable time period as well, because it's all like pretty much all but confirmed that the Rangers will be making the playoffs. As we know, there's like a pretty big gap between the divisional spots right now and the wild card spots, and then those who are looking for them. So I think it's safe to say we're going to make the playoffs, right? Knock on wood, of course, because who knows what the hell will happen when I say that.
Right.
But if we're preparing to make a deep playoff run, you're going to want to rest Igor as much as possible. And now, as of like recently, the last month or so, Halak has been playing really well. He's 7-0 in his last 7 starts. He's looking like a starting goalie right now. He's been playing good. But at this point of the season, we're going to have to start playing him more. We can't let Igor play every game and drain his energy during that time period. So you look at this stretch where it goes Pittsburgh, Washington, Pittsburgh, Carolina. Igor can't play every single one of those games. So we're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Yaroslav Halak's shoulders. And it might just like kind of fall onto how well he performs, because we know the offense and the defense are pretty consistent at this point. And Halak has proven to as well recently, but it's like, will he keep that up, or will he kind of revert back to what we saw? I think that's the biggest question.
Yeah, and hopefully he keeps it up, because lately, I mean, Jaroslav Halak has been playing phenomenal hockey, and even someone in the comment section of one of our most recent videos said that they think he's playing even better than Igor Shesterkin right now. So, I mean,
just to touch upon that, like, obviously, overall, Igor is better, but you just look at like their last 5 starts, their stats. Halak does have better stats than Igor. They're both 5-0 in their last 5 starts, but when it comes to goals against average and point percentages, Halak got him beat. And obviously, you can be in the comments like, "Well, we only start Halak against worse teams." That's true, but like, at what point do you like start to question, is Igor slipping a little bit? Like, what's happening here?
I don't think that's the case. I just think Halak is in his groove. He's in form, and he's going to continue to play well. And I think that's something that you're right, though, the Rangers need to bank on is Yaroslav Halak putting in some good games, because you can't just put it all on Igor. That's ultimately kind of what happened and what bumped us out of the Eastern Conference Finals at the end of last season, because at the end of that playoff run, the Rangers were relying on Igor way too much to be this magic man in net, and unfortunately, he ran out of magic at one point or another here and there, and the Rangers started conceding goals, and they started losing games in the postseason. So that is going to be crucial. Upgrading that backup goalie position was something that we talked about way before the offseason even kicked off. We said that was a main thing that the Rangers needed to improve upon. And I think that seeing the improvements that Yaroslav Halak has made throughout this season is huge. And it could be the difference maker between stalling out in the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe pushing towards the Stanley Cup Finals. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, no, I totally agree with everything you said. Obviously, the goaltending was a big part of why we were eliminated, not like the skill of the goaltender, but the amount that we were playing him in. And during the playoffs, you don't play your backup unless you have to. Unless Igor gets injured, Halak won't be playing. So just got to make sure Igor is well rested and ready to make like a deep run, because if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, that's like 2 months straight of playing right there without a single break, day in and day out. And looking at like the Metropolitan division, how competitive it is, it's going to be tough, assuming we finish second or third. First, we're going to have to encounter Jersey, and then either Carolina or Washington, most likely going to be Carolina. So that's back-to-back 2 rounds, really tough. And then Eastern Conference Finals, you're probably looking at like Tampa, Toronto, Boston. It's not going to be an easy path to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think no matter who wins the Stanley Cup this year, I definitely think it's going to be someone from the Eastern Conference. So it's really just going to come down to that.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. It's a good outlook, on the rest of the Rangers regular season, and even what the playoff picture beholds at this current time, and what the Rangers might be facing up against if they do make it into the postseason, which we think that they will. But we're just trying to see what their seeding is heading into the postseason, and that will definitely determine a whole lot for the matchups that they will have and how favorable they might be. So stay tuned to Fireside Rangers for more updates on the Rangers standings. player updates, trade rumors, all that stuff. It's going to be right here on Fireside Rangers. Again, thanks so much for sticking with us for 100 episodes. We've got 100 more to come and 100 more after that. And after
1,000
that,
more.
we've got thousands of episodes on the way. We love creating New York Rangers content together, so we're going to keep doing it right here. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our content, and ring the bell so you always get notified for it. But again, leave a like if you enjoy. We'll catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Rangers.